Hello, everyone. Welcome into another edition of Just Another Year Chicago. My name is Tony Sapita. I am joined by my co-host and noted hockey head, Nick Barr. How you doing today, Nick? Just feeling good, excited?
Of course, man. Just happy to be on the ice, figuratively. And unfortunately, it brings us together at a kind of a bad time for the Blackhawks, really their entire history. But happy to be here nevertheless.
Yeah, no, it's a great point. And speaking of, and Nick will kind of hit on, his opinion on this, which I think really hits home. The Alex DeBrincat trade, but we're just going to kind of hit a lot of news today. And then next week we're going to try to get on. We got a hockey guy that I know. He's got his own podcast. We're going to try to bring him on for more of the breakdown, the actual in-depth analysis, because he's done a lot of the scouting and whatnot, especially of the draft picks that we got coming up. So kind of just on the docket today, we're going to hit the trades on the docket, some might say, well, Kirby Doc, play on words. So we're going to talk about the trades first, which netted us, obviously, a lot of the draft picks that we had over the past couple days. So we'll hit on the draft, and then we'll kind of I'll just give kind of an overall takeaway, kind of where I see, I guess, the Blackhawks, not even going necessarily, but just the state of the union, I guess, is the best way to put it. So without further ado, let's hop right into it. So the first domino to fall in the big trades of the last, I guess just yesterday, really, because I assume you're watching Friday. So Thursday was a big day. The cat, Alex DeBrincat, he's out of here. He's gone. It was alluded to a little by, I believe it was Eddie Olczyk, kind of leading up to all of this. But I didn't think it would happen. But the Blackhawks did acquire a first-round pick, 7th overall specifically, a second-round pick, which is the 39th overall pick in the 2022 draft, so this year, and then a third-round pick in 2024 from the Ottawa Senators in exchange for forward Alex DeBrincat. This trade ended up bumping us up to 7 total picks in the first 3 rounds of the draft. So it gave us our first-round pick this year. Then we had 3 in the second round, 3 third-round picks. So that was until the Kirby Doc trade, which followed shortly. Nick, you want to tell us about that one?
Yeah. So right after, we didn't have a whole lot of time to recover. And I know, I'm a very casual hockey fan, but I can tell you the city of Chicago was a bit up in arms. It was like the SpongeBob meme where everyone's running on fire. And then we see Kirby Doc gets traded. And, so this kind of, well, I guess the DeBrincat trade would tell you that we're blowing it up, but this solidified it. And then we ended up he ended up going to the Canadiens for that. And then we ended up getting the 13th pick and the 66th pick in this draft. And then, so if you're keeping a tally there at home, that totals it up to 9 picks in the first 3 rounds of the 2022 draft. So a lot of, like you said, we're just trying to pile assets, clearly kind of mailing it in. So Tony, what about the last big one?
Yeah, so this one was kind of, obviously the first 2 were probably the most impactful, specifically on the team immediately. Obviously, who knows what these picks end up being, that could change. But this one was kind of it wasn't like a surprise or anything, I guess, crazy. It was, if you got any NBA fans out there, you maybe don't understand exactly what's going on here. This was almost seemed like, all right, we're offloading Russell Westbrook and we'll give you a pick to take him. That kind of situation here. So we acquired the 25th overall picks. We're 3rd and final of the first round picks that we acquired all this year, all in one day. Just crazy going into it with 0 picks. So we acquired the 25th pick, and we got goaltender Peter Mrazek, believe I'm pronouncing that correctly, from the Toronto Maple Leafs in exchange for the 38th overall pick, so a second round pick. It was our natural second round selection. We had just acquired the 39th pick from who was it? From the who did I say up here? From the Ottawa Senators. So it's not, we basically just moved back a pick. So Peter Mrazek, since he is now on the Blackhawks, give you a little insight on him. He's 30 years old. He made 18 starts and won 12 games last year with the Maple Leafs. Pretty good, actually. He was drafted by the Detroit Red Wings, in the 5th round, 141st overall in the 2010 NHL draft. Obviously, the year the Blackhawks won the Stanley Cup, their first of 3. Peter hails from Ostrava, Czech Republic. I think I nailed that. He's played 295 career regular season NHL games with 4 different teams: Detroit, Philadelphia, Carolina, and most recently with Toronto. In his career, he has posted a 2.64 goals against average, a 909 save percentage, and 24 shutouts. He's also appeared in 29 career Stanley Cup playoff games. That kind of rounds it out. We got a lot of picks. We're just moving and shaking. Nick, what is kind of, I guess, any thoughts overall on the trade market, all that jazz going on?
Yeah, again, I don't want to like step out of my boundaries here. Okay. I'm a Chicago dude following this from a Chicagoan aspect, not like hockey diehard aspect. So keep in mind that perspective, basketball diehard, but then so I think but that kind of makes my view interesting because I am removed from it. So like not knowing a bunch of details. So let's just say all right, I'm going to go click on the ESPN app, right? The worldwide leader in sports. And I'm going to click on NHL and see what's going on. The draft is tonight. This was me yesterday. The first article, Tony, I saw was the title reading Blackhawks get puzzlingly low return for DeBrincat. That was on the front page on the worldwide leader of sports. Listen, whether you're a hockey guy or not, it doesn't feel great, be put on the map for Chicago in such a bad light. Now, again, that was like it looked like an article that was written like immediately after. Now, I think everyone still feels the same way, that it was kind of a lower than expected return for a guy that scored 40 goals, a guy that's a budding star, etc. So it just sucked, man. It sucked going on the ESPN app. Like literally they could be talking about the running of the Bulls in Spain, but we're talking about the Blackhawks and getting a puzzlingly low return for DeBrincat. It's just, that didn't feel good.
Yeah, definitely the worst part about it being on ESPN and everything is I know they just took over all the coverage from NBC, so they're the hockey company now. They still don't talk about hockey. Yeah. They just still don't. So be like, if it was basketball, like, okay, the Bulls are doing a lot of stuff, there's gonna be one good article in there. It's like, no, the Blackhawks get 2 articles a year on on the front page of ESPN.
Yeah.
This past year was tough and was not exactly a bunch of good articles. So at least this one was hockey related, which was good.
That's true.
But it's just, it's tough, man. It's tough. So what's your overall takeaway before we kind of move on to the draft?
Yeah, well, it's pretty clear. We're in a rebuild. So let's get these guys. And Tony, something you mentioned about the draft, I'm sure you'll get into, is just that maybe we can stay optimistic, just given that, there's all these, COVID restrictions. There's not a lot of game tape on some of these guys. Maybe we'll find a diamond in the rough, especially with all these draft picks. Our chances are higher, I suppose. But I guess that's the only thing you can really hope for at this point.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great point. I'm happy they decided to, and then we'll move on to the draft after this point here. I'm decided they just tear it all down, burn it to the ground, tear it down to the studs, and build from the ground up, as opposed to kind of what they've been trying to do, where it's just like they're just pumping water out the right side, is more water's coming in over the left. The ship is going to sink. It is what it is. Maybe we would have gotten lucky and just, everyone would have had the best year of their life, whatever. But that's not typically how sports work. So eventually we would have ended up in the same spot, but we probably would have been discombobulated by the time we got here. Would have just had to start the whole rebuild over in 3 years, whatever. So just do it now. Give it a shot. If it doesn't work out, well, then we'll worry about that when we have to. So speaking of the guys that are going to work out, before we hit on the NHL draft and who the Blackhawks decide to take, I'd like to tell you about Unbound Coffee. Unbound Coffee Company delivers high-end coffee and the best coffee-related t-shirts in the business to your door with free shipping on all orders. And the best part is, for every item sold by Unbound Coffee, $2 is donated to a charity or nonprofit of your choice. Unbound donates locally and nationwide, so they will donate to your local schools, theaters, and churches, as well as some of the biggest charities in the world. Select your cause at checkout. Use promo code JAYCHI, JAYCHI, for 15% off your first order, or sign up for a subscription to save on additional 10% and donate to your favorite charity or nonprofit every time your order renews. That's 25% off your first order when you use code JAYCHI, JAYCHI, and sign up for a subscription at www.unboundcoffeecompany.com. Start living Unbound today. I love their coffee. I love what they stand for. Make sure to get yours today. Here are I believe it's 9 draft picks we got here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, because we made a trade with Arizona. It's only through the first 3 rounds. We're recording before the end of the draft. So with the first pick for the Blackhawks, the 7th overall pick, Kevin Korchinski. He's a defenseman from the WHL's Seattle Thunderbirds. Korchinski is a 6'2", 185-pound native of Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, which means he's already the greatest hockey player in the world. I think everyone knows that. That's a fact. He logged 65 total points, 4 goals, and 61 assists. Tongue twister there, and 67 regular season games for the Thunderbirds this season. Plus, he had another 19 points, 6 goals, 13 assists in 25 WHL playoff games for a Seattle team that unfortunately came up short in the finals, but they did make it to the finals, which is good to see that he's kind of not just on a trash team. He's out there actually competing on a good team, especially for his talent level where he was at. So he's got a little playoff experience. Love to see it. Might be a while till he gets to use it again, but I like the pick. I guess we need a defense. I don't know. We'll break that down more next week. Like I said, today's just gonna be news. So Nick, who do we get with the 13th overall pick, our second first round pick?
Yeah, so only a few picks later, right? And these all came, like you said, at the buzzer. So hopefully they were prepared. Frank Nazar, a forward out of the U.S. national team, like the developmental program, that is. 5'10", 185. He is from Mount Clemens, Michigan. But most importantly, he scored 105 points with 43 goals, 62 assists in 80 games last year for the U18 program. So obviously probably will need a little bit of development, but seems like he's got some star potential early on. I guess this is kind of a fun fact. He also skated in 6 games for the U.S. at the U18 World Championship, scoring 9 points, 3 goals, 6 assists, when the Americans took silver in that. Nazar will be attending the University of Michigan in the fall to continue his development. So that's kind of interesting, but it sounds like he's got a lot of hope and upside. So
yeah, I am. And this guy as well that we're about to talk about, the 25th overall pick, he's also going back to college to play another year before he starts, whatever it is, whether it's going to the AHL or maybe bringing him right out to the squad. We'll see how bad we are. That's probably for the best, especially with how this team's going to be in disarray. And it is what it is. If we're rebuilding, we're rebuilding. Like I said, I'd rather we commit to it. So I'd rather him get actual good structure in college, just like this guy who was the 25th overall pick, our final first round pick. This one that was from the Leafs that we traded for Peter Mrazek. Sam Rinzel, he's a defenseman from the Waterloo Blackhawks of the USHL. So kind of sticking with the same mascot there. So Rinzel is a 6'3", 181-pound native of Chanhassen, Minnesota. Apologize if I butchered that. He split his 2021-2022 season with Chaska High School in Minnesota and the Waterloo Blackhawks of the USHL. He totaled 48 points, which is 11 goals, 27 assists in 48 games. So point a game, pretty good. The blue liner is committed to the University of Minnesota to play some college hockey in the fall. Nothing better than a little college hockey, as we know from the movie Miracle. Nick, now we're just going to we're not going to give any background on these guys, just kind of go through second and third round. Nick, if you hit us.
Yeah, so day 2. So we are continuing the draft here. We're underway for the second day, I believe. And then we took centerman Paul Ledwinski at 39 overall, and then centerman Ryan Green at 57 overall. So now, what was that? So we have 3 first round, 2 second round. Okay. And then we had 3 more in the third.
Yeah. So in the third round, we selected winger Gavin Hayes, number 66 overall, winger Samuel Savoy. I don't know. I can't even tell if that's an L or an I because my thing is so bright right now, but that's his name. Number 81 overall, and centerman Aiden Thompson at number 90 overall. So we did also have the 94th overall pick in the third round. We traded that to the Arizona Coyotes for a third round selection in the 2023 NHL draft. I'm okay with that. Arizona's going to suck, so that will be a great pick, in my opinion. So that's kind of where we're at so far. We recorded before, any of the other rounds there. So maybe we'll I don't know, just check the internet for those. Good luck with that. So kind of to wrap it up here, my overall vision for this team, kind of what I just think, state of the union, etc. I love Luke Richardson already so far. Obviously hasn't coached a game yet, whatever. Everyone in the league seems to love him, which is always a good sign, especially as Chicago sports fans. Whenever we hire a coach, usually a lot of those guys, it's like, oh, I don't know. I hated him. This guy hated him. He was terrible here, whatever. He's basically been described as a true leader of men due to he has this very stern approach to the game of hockey. So he doesn't take much crap, but he isn't like an asshole like Torts is. And he's not, if you mess up, he's going to let you know for sure, but he's not going to truly belittle you and just make you let you know that, you're lucky to be under his tutelage, any of that crazy stuff there. So it's a young team, young team. Obviously, our two of our 3 first-round picks are still just headed to college out of high school. So I have decided to blindly trust the process. That is where I stand. The Blackhawks will be hoisting the Stanley Cup again in 2026, the first of 3 in a row.
Yep.
I'm excited. I'll watch this team, especially once the young guys start coming up, even if they're not going to be good. This last year was tough to watch. I did watch a lot of games, but it was just painful because there was no future with everyone on the team.
Right.
But I have to get a new jersey here. It's old No Teeth Keith, Duncan Keith jersey. Gonna have to update that. I'll pick out my favorite guy coming up in the ranks. So hopefully I can have it for a long time like I did this one. Nick, you got any final hockey comments before we wrap up?
I think overall, because I would be a fool to try to offer any hockey analysis right now, but I think like from a team owner standpoint, team building standpoint, I would agree with you that just like as a fan, I'm just glad they're like committing to the bit instead of like kind of toying with their own guys too. But like, as the fan, the important party here, it just feels good that we actually know what the mindset is now. Yeah, it might suck, but at least we know what their thoughts are. So it's not like they're not trying to drag it out, I guess is what I would say.
Absolutely. You absolutely nailed that. It goes beyond hockey. That's every sport. Baseball, for example, the Chicago Cubs, Chicago White Sox, tear it down, build it up. We saw what happened. The Bears, the Bulls, they kind of did it. They did a little rebuild on the fly. Might not work out, but either way, they committed to that, which that's what I appreciate. The commitment one way or the other. So with that, that'll do it for this